What's up guys, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to tell you about motion, and if you want to know it, make sure to stay tuned. So the first thing we're going to talk about is about the definition of motion. So motion is the repeating change in position of a body. For example, if you ran to school, that means you are repeatedly changing your position from the starting point to the finishing point. So there are two units we can describe motion on. We can describe motion in speed. So one of them is speed and the other one is velocity. Both of them have the letter V, but their differences is that speed doesn't have an arrow over the letter V, but velocity has one. So let me tell you why. When we say speed, we don't know in a specified direction. We don't know the specified direction where it's going. So we may say that speed doesn't have a direction you show. It just tells you the rate of change of position. But when we go to velocity, velocity actually tells you it's a vector quantity, meaning that a vector quantity is a quantity that shows the direction. That's why I put an arrow over the V. So if velocity is a vector, we can say that speed is scalar. So speed is scalar and velocity is a vector. So examples of vector quantities are, it can be force, which is denoted as capital F and arrow. It can be weight, which is capital W and arrow, and it can be acceleration, which is small a and arrow. So now that you've known that speed is a scalar quantity and velocity is a vector quantity, let's go to the calculations. So speed and velocities calculations are pretty much the same, and it is speed equals distance over time. That means if you find the velocity, which is, for example, if you find the speed, which is, for example, 4 meters per second, it tells you that it travels 4 meters in 1 second. And the calculations for velocity is displacement over time. Note that the difference between displacement and distance is that distance is the adding or the total path traveled, but displacement just tells you how many meters it is or how many kilometers, whatever units it is, when you travel in a specific direction. For example, I can say displacement is 5 kilometers. Make sure you put a comma and then you write the direction. 5 kilometers north. And let's say distance is 2 kilometers. That's it. Distance doesn't have a specified direction it's going to. So if you have understood, let me tell you the formulas of distance, displacement, and time. So to find the distance, you just have to use cross multiplication in both of them, and then you will get that distance is equal to velocity times time, or you just can say VT in short. And the formula for displacement is, this is speed times time, speed times time is the formula for distance, And the formula for displacement is velocity times time. Okay, so make sure you put the arrows on if you got a vector quantity, because that's the only way to distinguish vector and scalar quantities. Okay, so let me tell you the formula for time. The only way to take time on its own is to divide it by v. So you will finally get t equals s over v displacement over velocity. There is no much difference in these two, because time is scalar quantity in both of them. So let's proceed to the calculations. So let's say that there's a car traveling 12 meters east in 3 seconds. If you say that a car traveled 12 meters east in 3 seconds, and if you're told to calculate the velocity, what are you going to do? Try the question, pause the video, and resume it again. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so I wrote given, required, and solution here for it to be more clearer. So the thing we were given in here is the displacement, which is, just let me increase the gap in here. The displacement is 12 kilometers east. Oh, sorry, 12 meters east. And the other thing given is the time, which is 3 seconds. And what is the car's velocity? So to find that, as I told you before, there's a formula for velocity, which is velocity equals displacement over time, which is 12 meters east over 3 seconds. You don't really need to calculate the direction, because I don't think you'll get the final answer if you calculate the direction, a final different answer that you do it normally in here. So 12 divided by 3 is 4 meters per second. So the velocity is, make sure to include the direction, 4 meters per second east. There, we found the answer. So let me just ask you another question. So let's say someone ran for at the speed of 2 meters per second for 4 seconds. So obviously the thing required here is the distance. So try to use the formulas I had given you and try to do this. I'll give you time. You can pause the video. Okay, so the given is these. It's the speed, which is 2 meters per second, and the time, which is 4 seconds. Okay, so the required one is the distance, and the solution is, as I told you, the formulas I gave you before, is that distance equals v t, velocity times time. So the given, we had a velocity, a distance, a speed of, let me just make it 2. I will tell you why I just wrote 2. and 4. And let me show you how you get meter at the last one. Let me just make this. Let me just make it times here. Times. We had the distance, I mean the speed, which is meter per second, times second over 1. Let me just do it to fulfill it. So 2 times 4 is 8. And in here you get that S and S can cancel out each other. You can just directly cancel it, or you can finally just say ms over s. It can cancel out. So you can say that the distance he ran is equal to 8 meters. And there are other words for velocity, I mean for distance. For example, meter per second's other name is meter second the power of -1. I just gave you this for general knowledge. So let me just give you one more question and it will be the end of the video. So let's say that again a boy ran at 3 meters per second for at the distance of 7.5 meters. So the thing needed is the time it taken him for him to cover 7.5 meters at the speed of 3 meters per second. Pause the video and try it. Okay, in here the speed is 3 meters per second and the distance traveled is 7.5 meters. So the thing required is the time. So according to the formulas I gave you before, we said that time is equal to distance over speed. Let me just put it as the way I put it before. Let me just make it 7.5 over 3 meter over 1 and becomes the reciprocal, making it second over meter. I just put it on this way to verify that distance over time is equal to the seconds or time. I mean distance over speed is equal to the time and forming seconds. So 7.5 over 3 is 2.5. So you can say that 2.5, just make t over here, and meter cancels meter in here. You can directly cancel it or just do it ms over m. Meter cancels meter here, leaving the seconds in here. So it will take 2.5 seconds for it to travel 7.5 meters in the speed of 3 meters per second. So guys, that's it for today. Make sure you subscribe if it's the first time being in this channel, and if this video was helpful, make sure to like. Bye guys.